We have reached the time of year where content creators revisit older devices. Today, let's revisit the OnePlus 10 Pro on
Engineer Reacts.
This hoodie was created to honor my friend El Jefe Review's late wife, Paloma. Paloma believed in El Jefe and was extremely proud of his work and his charity work. Beats for Hope and El Jefe Reviews teamed up to support local food banks, and 100% of the profits will be donated to the Alameda County Food Bank. They have women and men's sizes and range from small to 5XL. Join me in supporting free meals for families during this holiday season. With headlines like OnePlus is now officially exhausting, has OnePlus lost its way, or the ever so often used OnePlus is dead, let's simply say ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But like a phoenix rising, OnePlus has added enough gems to fly above the obvious. Let's start with the game-changing 4K 120 that only OnePlus and Sony offer. So over the past 7 months, I've used this primarily as a work phone, and it's been outstanding as that. I started off with the S22 Ultra and it lasted about 3 weeks, I would say. And then the rest of the year was on the OnePlus 10 Pro until the 6A arrived. And it's not because the 6A is better. I could easily go back. It was just I wanted to give a fair shot to the 6A. But this is probably my favorite work phone of the year. And it doesn't have any special desktop modes. It doesn't have pen support. It's just the smoothness of the OS. It's just really meant to drive a work phone. It's outstanding at that. Now, one of the perks of the OnePlus 10 Pro, outside of how it performs as far as like how smooth the OS is, it's really the things that's kind of icing on the cake is video. One of the things that you can do with this is obviously 4K 120. And the great thing about 4K 120 is you can slow that footage down. So whether it's a sporting memory that you're interested in, whether it's just a general memory like a party, whatever it is, anything that you want to create, you can actually slow down and make it look more cinematic. Right now, cinematic is not all about frame rates, but we have to keep it real. A lot of times to make something look cinematic, we slow it down. So if we think of just the old race in Chariots of Fire, even though it's a fast race, they showed it in slow motion, right? So there's only a handful of phones and their name are OnePlus and Sony. So you have the OnePlus 9 Pro, the OnePlus 10 Pro, have this capability in the Sony 1 Mark and 5 Mark and Pro I series. So the next thing that OnePlus added was log. So there's a dedicated movie mode outside of the video mode that allows you to shoot in log. So if I just show, let's see if I pull something that's kind of got some color to it. So if I hit HDR, you can see that I've got more colors here. And when I go to log, it seems like the color collapses. And what that is your dynamic range is collapsed, but you'll gain that back in post. So you have more data to play with, more ability to push colors around. And also in this movie mode, you have the capability of changing the ISO, the shutter speed, the exposure. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do in this movie mode besides just log. The next thing too, like if I go to photos, I can go into settings. In settings, I can see that I have the capability of 10-bit color. So, and it also supports 10-bit color, specifically the HEIF format that's been supported by Mac for quite some time. So it's supported in Lightroom. Mac had it first, I believe, in Sierra. And so you can import it into Final Cut. So it gives you a lot more dynamic range. So instead of 256 levels of depth, you have 1024 levels of depth. So really can push some of these color. And I'm gonna point to a video that Easy Computer Solutions just did. It's not on this device, on the OnePlus 10 Pro, but the 12S Ultra also supports 10-bit. So he shows how he kind of did some drastic things. So what happens is when it doesn't work, you'll see that the footage will break down. And the easiest way to kind of tell when it breaks down is it's an issue. So it's not going to be one of those things where you're like, oh, this doesn't look as clean or the image looks flat. There will be visible differences between going from one grade of a color to the next. So you won't have a gradient. It will be abrupt. So it will be pretty obvious. The overall OS has just been unbelievable with the OnePlus 10 Pro. The one thing that I have to say, this is one of the few phones that It will only allow you to put one fingerprint in, and it has meaning one fingerprint per finger. It will not let you do it, and it has a really good optical sensor. It doesn't really work. So I was very happy to see that the Pixel improved, because once I started using the OnePlus, I was like, wait a second here. There are no excuses here. So still not the Qualcomm based scanner that is in Vivo's currently, and iQOO's by Vivo, and rumored to come to Samsung. So still not there, but this is a great fingerprint sensor. One thing too about the OnePlus is, and I started really paying attention to this when I got the IQ9 Pro, is the OnePlus, as far as width, is great. It might be just a little bit wider, but I'd rather have this than like what is in the 13 Pro Max, what is in the S22 Ultra. I think those are a little too wide, and they can be cumbersome to use over time, and I've got humongous hands, right? So I'm not really worried about that, but I think when you're doing a flagship, all companies should be looking at the width of a Xiaomi 12S Ultra, a Vivo X80 Pro, an IQ9 Pro. Those are the sweet spots. And I think Google did a really good job of fixing some of the issues that they had with the 6 Pro from a dimension standpoint to the 9 Pro that improve that feel in the hand. So you don't want anything to encumber. Everything should be like, it feels natural, more than just a feel, but an experience. And by the way, click here if you want to see any other content related to the OnePlus 10 Pro that is currently available on my channel. Every moment watched is truly appreciated. And with that, we're out.